Welcome back. This is the Scaling Secrets podcast. This is the show where we talk about scaling your business to 7 and 8 figures and beyond. And we're here with exactly the guy to talk to about that. He is Timothy Shaffer, and he is the CEO and co-founder of SearchTires.com, which is the world's first tire price comparison search engine. Go there right now. Even while we're talking, I went there a few minutes ago and put in my car, and it's pretty cool how there's all these kind of price comparison websites like a kayak or something like that, like for airlines, but this is for your car tires, and you'll get you'll be able to sort and do all sorts of research about your car tires. So Tim is a dynamic sales and operations expert with over 3 decades of industry proficiency. So we're going to hear all about maybe these things like community, mentorship, sustainable business growth, plus his excellent platform that will help you save money at the same time that you do all these things. So Tim,
glad to be speaking with you, Robert. I appreciate the opportunity to be on the show.
And the appreciation is mutual. I'm glad that you're here. So you told me before we started that you've been rocking and rolling and doing all sorts of podcast appearances and having all kinds of fun. And so what is your current passion and focus in your business and your life and your time management? Just what's going on with you lately?
Well, one of my core focuses is always learning every day. So that's not really about the business, but I like to devote time to learning something new every day. And my biggest focus for business right now is just scaling my business and growing more customers, learning what the data is telling us and being able to apply it so we can optimize it better for growth is really what we're doing.
Wonderful. So you're looking at that data, and people are always looking to scale, or they talk about scaling, but then sometimes they kind of are short-sighted about it, right? They just think it means like working hard or hiring more people. And so what does scaling look like to you, and what have you been doing to avoid the usual pitfalls with scaling?
That's a very good question. So I think first and foremost, it starts with your team, right? I hire the best people, and I let them do what they're best at. If I just did it myself, then it really wouldn't be very good. So I'm good at assembling the right people to do the right job. So in doing that, with scaling is what we do is we test all the time. We just had a team call this morning and talking about testing, and sometimes what the preconceived thought is of how you're going to scale is completely wrong. The weirdest things happen, even in PPC word usage or platforms that you go on to scale. In the oddest places, you'll find better conversions and better reach. Even, like some people have tons of followers. However, if you go with people like that, sometimes the engagement isn't as good. You could go with someone that doesn't have as many followers, but the engagement is crazy. And so we try to seek out those niches, use those niches, and help promote people like that. And of course, the same with Google. Our CMO is a master at PPC and that. So yeah, we do really well at optimizing and doing that as well.
Wonderful. And so I'm hearing all these things from you, how important it is to hire the right team, hire good people, to delegate, to let go, but then also kind of counterbalance that with somewhat of an obsession, right? You're obsessed with the data, you're obsessed with the different like PPC sources, and you're not letting things fall by the wayside, right? Because you're running these ads, you're running this business, you're looking to grow. There's all these things to be looking on all the time. And how do you kind of keep your energy and your focused attention up? Because it's easy to have that entrepreneurial ADD, or it's easy to get tired, right? And then it's, you can always say, oh, well, I hire people to look at that, but then you have to like watch your people and make sure that things get done. So how do you just avoid the burnout, like people call it, or how do you just avoid the neglect in your business?
Yeah, I've never really experienced issues like that. Now, obviously, when I was working in corporate America, stuff happens because of bureaucracy and how you can't change things, or if you can, it takes a long period of time. But the great thing about us is we're very nimble. The team is very bright, and we do 8-hour polls on all of our data, because data can change and time ranges of days change, or time ranges in certain days change for search, and when you want to press and when you want to don't press. So we have a data, our data insights dashboard is insane, and we use it, and not just me. we have the team even involved, even like the developers, the CTO. We all look at it because sometimes the fatigue is when you look at something so often that you miss stuff because you look at it all the time. The great thing about fresh eyes is that sometimes they'll notice something, they'll bring it up, and you're like, oh yeah, I didn't notice that because I've looked at it every day for the last week. But that really, we're all about getting different sets of eyes on stuff and getting different opinions and stuff, and we're willing to test. And that's what's really driven us. A few of our campaigns that we have right now are crazy, and they weren't thought up by any conventional wisdom. It was just come up with something that we come up with by using data and then applying it, and then and was able to scale like that. Our month over month, we increase or double, and this month we're over triple of our last month, and that's still the same spend. We're not spending anymore, so that's pretty rare. Sometimes that can't. Hopefully it will, but as you scale and you get bigger, you're going to have to spend on branding and stuff like that. So that kind of changes the stuff. But when we're directly targeting people that are looking to buy tires now, and right now that's working. But we're going to have to do some display ads and mix in some other things for branding and stuff like that. So the numbers will change a little bit, but it's important to keep your hand on the pulse of the business and always be following up on that.
And what I'm hearing from you, in order to keep that finger on the pulse of the business, is to have that dashboard in place. So that way you have some real data. It's nice and simple. You're not lying to yourself. And then multiple people can look at it. And then it can even be really encouraging. These things that you're mentioning here of increasing and tripling the results with the same amount of ad spend, and then also what you're mentioning there of like the comparison, right, where you can just kind of have those different kind of squares or boxes on the dashboard and kind of click around and say, okay, well, how is this doing compared to last month or last year? And so am I on the right track there? Is having that sort of simple, shareable dashboard that you keep revisiting really a key component in you getting to where you are?
Yes, and all through my career, I've always been really tuned into dashboards or KPIs. People call it KPIs, key performance indicators. But we went way above and beyond in this company because data is a very big deal to us. And like an example of that is so we know on certain times of the day, we can spend less money because we know that when we spend money between 1 and 3, that's going to convert better because there's more searches during that time than it may be between 10 and 12, right? It's something like that. I mean, so these are how detailed we get into the weeds with stuff like that. I'm a data junkie. It's what I like to do. I've always liked to do it because, if it's reality, and we don't base that off of anybody else's website or, you can get all these data sources that tell you other things. We've been successful learning from our data sources because we pulled the people that are on our sites, and that's what we're able to use and then apply.
Wonderful. And so has being, as well, I imagine a data junkie kind of helps you in many ways, right? Because you mentioned earlier about how you're always learning. And so that can be useful in maybe not getting too distracted or just kind of like assembling all these things that you're learning. You're mentioning being the data junkie in terms of your advertising and getting some of these insights such as, well, if we advertise these specific hours of the day, if we try out these different audiences, we get this really dialed in, then that can mean more money. But I imagine that being data focused has also helped with your platform as well, right? Because your platform is just like combining all these different data sources and kind of merging them in a certain way. So has that helped in just making your platform as good as it is?
Absolutely. It's the driving factor in our source and how we apply it. My background from corporate America is tires and running divisions and companies and stuff like that. However, when I got out of that, I got into marketing, direct response marketing, and that's email marketing. And data is everything in that. So when I was able to get my hands on data like that, like real-time data, and that's what we offer real-time data. So when you can get your hands on real-time data, the value in it is incredible. And being able to take it and turn on it and apply it quickly, that's what makes you win. The thing is that some people or some companies, and they're just used to doing what they do, but they might look at it, they might go back on a week and look at a week. We're not like that. we have to be different. So the difference in us is that we're going to take that data and we're going to apply that, and we're going to always be testing. I mean, there's some things that I come up with and I think I've been in the tire business for 30 years and I think this is the greatest thing ever. Just do this. We'll test it and it'll like fall flat on his face. It's like awful. And then we'll think of something that I would say there's no way that's going to work, and it explodes. So it's okay to have an opinion and it's okay to try things, but testing is where you're going to get the real results and be able to optimize and do what you need to do.
I agree completely that testing is the way to prove yourself wrong, but then also have some fun with it and to try something super weird and wacky. Try that weird subject line, or try a super short curiosity email, or try like a shorter headline, or moving the video off the webpage, and all these silly things. And so many times you just tell yourself that, well, if I do this, there's no way this will be better. What I'm currently doing, it'll work just fine. And then you surprise yourself with those kind of experiments, and that's good because then it scratches the learning itch, and then kind of it just adds some variety, right? Because if you were like, we don't love to always be right. We tell ourselves that, but then that would be really kind of like boring, dull existence if just like everything was just expected and the way that you wanted it to go. So these surprises and even failures can be in and of themselves exciting. And so with all of your just sort of data adventures here, does one jump out to you as far as like doing a test, doing an experiment, and then it worked out way differently than you expected? Does anything come to mind?
Yeah, most certainly. So in the beginning when we started with a landing page that I said, well, that's what people want to know. So we'll make the landing page like that. And then when we got involved, we started looking at the data. We said, hey, we're going to test this new landing page. So we went from one landing page and we were converting about 12%, which is pretty good, getting through the funnel and getting them to choose a retailer in their area. We made a simple change, simple, but we changed to a new landing page. And in that landing page, it increased it to 30%. Now, we took that and we looked at it for a while, and then I'm looking at it and I'm like, we have a new one coming out, but this time we tested it. And out of 15,000 people that have tested that, over 86% like the new iteration based to the old iteration. So we're getting ready to push that live probably within 3 days. And then we'll be able to measure and see, is it 15,000 people right or are they wrong? But that's the exciting part of it, right? It's like being able to try things and then real time, you get your results really fast. So, yeah. So that's kind of one of the tests that we do, the landing page, and through the funnel, we've tweaked things, of course, as well. But that initial page and colors as well, how you pull people into colors is really amazing too.
I love hearing things like that. And this whole idea of the real-time data, it seems to be like something new in these last few years. And up until the last few years, it seemed like a pipe dream, right? It seemed like something where sometimes we didn't see the value in it, or it seemed like, I'm asking for too much, right? I'm being a princess because I just want to see all this data right here, right now. But you're so right in that it's so needed and it's so possible these days. And especially when you kind of test small and you say, well, like, let me run these kind of new landing pages or these new ads and have it really small targeted and dump not a lot of money into it, but enough where like the small targeting can really give you some real-time results. And then you hear about these people that have these huge lists, right? Where like they'll have like a list of like 1 million people and they'll do a split test just on like a little portion, little subset of the list, and then see how that variation goes. And then when there's a winner, they blast it out to the whole thing. And that's just really exciting, especially to see it all happen very quickly. That way we can make those decisions quickly. And then for me, it ties, even hearing about it, it ties back into that excitement of just like doing it right now. And with this kind of having the real-time dashboard, because again, the old way of thinking, maybe you'd wait a month or till the end of the quarter to like figure out some of these numbers. But when you can see it right now and it's so automatic, you can just do things really quickly. And so as far as you are connecting to these like tire shops and things like that, for a long time there's been like this worry that like Amazon's going to just like take everything over, and Walmart, and then the internet will eat up the rest. But then sometimes you see with these kind of apps and the services and the accessibility and the local ads that it seems like a lot of these kind of mom and pop establishments, the ones that really get dialed into the digital marketing, they have a chance. And so what do you think about this? Like, what do you think about the doom and gloom with the local retailers versus them having access to all these tools? Are mom and pop shops dead or aren't they?
No, they're not dead at all. And that's what we're excited about, being able to help them, give them a platform to be more visible on, because our platform is gaining traction so much that they're going to get eyes on them as well, just like everybody else is. And the interesting thing about how that works is, what I'm passionate about and why I push so hard in this is because these online retailers that are out there, and we all know their names, they sell tires and they ship them to stores and they turn them into installers. That's not sustainable. If these brick and mortar stores that pay local employees, they pay taxes, they support little league teams, they support the communities. If they're going to get turned into installers, they're not going to be able to operate. They can't pay their overhead. I mean, they just can't. These online retailers are taking advantage of that, and they're pushing all this stuff to them to turn them into an installer. No, so I'm passionate about, hey, that you can buy 99.8% of the time you can buy the tire cheaper local and go get it put on today. You don't have to wait. There's a 72-hour window of people when they know they need tires and they get tires. It's 72 hours. I want to be part of making that window crunch down and get them people to their local people, and where they can go and get it done today. They don't need to order tires online, get them shipped. They go through all this stuff when they can just go down to their local shop, see how much their prices are, go down and get it done today. I mean, and that's a safety issue too, right? You don't want someone driving around for 72 hours without tires either. So, to me, that's the win-win of it. And hey, is there a place for online retailers? Yeah, of course. There's enthusiasts that want special things. Great. I'm trying to take care of like the 99% of the people, not the 1% that are enthusiasts that need special things. So I'm just trying to, people generally want to know three things when they buy: how much, how long, and where you at. That's really what most people want to know. And, there's them 5% that engineers and stuff like that, they want some more information. But for the most part, you just need to guide them to the retailer and let the retailer do their job, and putting them the best tire for their driving habits, the best tire for how long they're keeping the car. There's so many variables on that, but we just want to let them know what the prices are. And our prices, when we display them, we don't just display the tire price. It's mounted, balance, tax, disposal, shop fees, any new state tire fee, out the door. We display out the door prices. We don't do the tire thing, because sometimes tires can be less expensive in one store than the other, but by the time you get out, it's more. And the other thing is too, quickly, is defining the expectation. If someone looks on a site and they see $400, the customer thinks $400. They go down there and they're like, "That's $525. Why?" Well, we had a mountain balancer. You need all this other stuff to put in. Maybe you need alignment. That's another $100. I mean, you need to clearly define that and let people know what that expectation is, so they'll have a better user experience when they go.
Wonderful. Well, I can tell you're passionate about this, and I can tell that you have thought this through. And how is it even possible? You go to like every tire shop, or like, how do you get all this data and how do you merge it? How's that even done?
Well, we have a miraculous proprietary data team that files a lot of public data. However, there is a lot of manual work, and from the beginning I've been doing that, like discovering the mounting and balancing and the taxes and the disposal fees and the shop fees and all. It's an arduous task, but it's worth it, because you make the customer happy. They know what to expect.
Wonderful. And so, and you're so right with that whole like balancing the equation, right? You said that it was how much, how long, and then where is my tire, like where do I have to go to get my tires changed? And it's for sure it's balancing act, right? Because if it's super cheap, but I have to drive 400 miles, well, I won't drive that far. There's for sure like a radius where I'll drive. And then if my car will be in the shop for like 3 weeks, well, then I'd rather pay like a little more to get it done. And so there's definitely some kind of calculus that is done there. And so I like how you make all those fees transparent, right? Where you total it up. That way, when you're booking a flight, right? And for some reason, my brain keeps going back to that. You book a flight, it's like, oh, it's a $500 flight. Well, no, once I'm out the door and add the fees, it's going to be like $600 or $700. And so I'm sure that there have been many of these problems, obstacles to overcome, right? Out the door price, figuring out all the data, making this whole thing work. Are there any just like real business challenges that you feel like sharing that you've had to overcome in building this?
Well, the real business problem is going to be the adoption of it from the consumers. However, we already know what that looks like now, and we already have our trajectory. We're pretty confident on that. We've done a lot of testing, and we've spent the money to get behind it. And now it's the second leg of that is going to be when we're going out to SEMA next week to do a charity event, and we're launching in front of all the major stakeholders in the big companies, and we're going to announce what we're doing and how we're doing it and what we do and what we have to offer to them. And then, that's another piece of acceptance. Now, I'm not saying that we don't need them to be on board, but we'd like them to be on board. I mean, to us, we want to really drive back to help those people that are investing in communities with stores, rents, whatever they do, investing in employees, community values and stuff. So to us, it's all part of it. And we're announcing actually at a charity event. So we're sponsoring a charity event. And we're announcing there. So how apropos would that be? So,
Yeah. And it seems like you're having a lot of fun because in our business, there's, we wear a lot of hats, right? There you have to figure out the accounting and the HR and doing the work, and there's so many things to do, and it's easy to look at that negatively and say like, oh, I have all these jobs to do, but you're also bringing to the point of that there's also the fun things, right? There's the networking and the charity and the kind of like, making these deals happen and having these conversations and giving back to the community. So there's definitely a huge upside. And so with all of those components, looking at like that whole kind of umbrella, that map, there's for sure like some kind of a blueprint to be had about turning your passion into a business. So if someone has like a really good idea, if they're really excited about it, what kind of advice would you give as far as them growing that passion, that idea, that excitement into something similar to what you have created? What should people know when they embark on this venture, and what kind of advice would you give about someone who wants to turn their passion into a business?
Well, the most important thing is I always say find your North Star, because entrepreneurs are generally visionaries and we have a lot of ideas, but being able to hone it down to one is the most important. It's going to be the one you like and you're passionate. I'm passionate about what I do and I love it. And I can be passionate about multiples, but I know that I need to stay focused. But some other key factors that I would give to young entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs ready to jump out of the business world and, corporate America into it. There's a few things. Consistent practice. Practice your trade. Understand and master, through consistent practice daily. Seek feedback from other people. Feedback is valuable. Bad or good, they're both good. Stay updated on your skills and current events and everything, and don't just get it from one source. Get it from multiple sources. That's what I call like learn actively, right? You want to learn actively, and you want to do it through multiple resources. And one of the biggest things is you have to remain and be curious, right? You have to always be curious about new things and all that stuff, and get in the box and see what that looks like. And then at the end, the two last things is, of course, organization, and then above all, stay inspired in what you're doing. You need to be inspired about what you do, or it'll just turn into a job that you could go get it working for anybody else. So, unfortunately for me, I check the boxes, and I study. I'm very focused on them every day, and I'm focused about how I can be better, how my product can be better. To me, the product is the most important thing. And people say, hey, about revenue and all that kind of stuff. I say, take care of your product, and you build the best product, and you take care of your customers. The byproduct is money. It's, you don't have to chase money. Some of the worst decisions I've ever made in my life, and we've all been there, right? However, what you need to do is you need to chase your dream and build that best product. And you put that best product on the field, and you get all this adaptation from all these users. Once you have that, and you're the source in the market, money's a byproduct. People are going to come to you. You don't have to go searching for people. So
yes, I love that, and especially because it does not have to be one or the other, right? Like you can be product focused and then say, well, the money's also a very important thing, but I'm looking at the product first, and the money is just one of many kind of components of that. And it's definitely not that I'm ignoring the money, but my vision, my North Star, the thing that I'm just revisiting every day is with that product. And so that way I know that the rest of it will work itself out. And so I'm kind of keeping in my head all of these really useful, helpful principles that you're mentioning. You're saying that it's important to practice every day, that it's important to have that feedback, and then have the learning and the curiosity, and then to be organized. That way it's not just a mess. And then also to be inspired. That way you kind of have that whatever pulls you forward, even when times are tough or you get frustrated or you're just trying to crack whatever today's problem is. And we've all been there. And so that way we can just kind of have something that fuels us, right? Because you think about this typical job, this 9 to 5 that I've left, that you've left, Tim, and we've all had those jobs that we hated that just like stole from us, that took from us, that took our happiness, took our energy, took our passion and motivation, and we want to flip that on its head and to just create this business that helps us, that helps our employees, that helps our customers, that helps our communities. That's what we all want. And so if someone wants to check out what you have as far as searchtires.com, reshaping the tire industry, bringing the spotlight back to local retailers, tell us about searchtires.com. What's the elevator pitch and where should we go?
Well, you should go to searchtires.com whenever you're in need of tires, your make, model, trim, and your zip code will fill in, or you can fill in a zip code of where you're at, and it's going to display all the tires that are available, bunched by prices. You pick one, you'll go to the next page, you'll see all the local retailers that have it, you'll have a map. You can click to call, click for directions, or click to their website to make an appointment. It's really that simple. The average time on our site is 4 minutes and 18 seconds. And that's the beauty of it. People always say, you want people on there longer? I go, for what I'm doing? No. I mean, I want them on there enough time to get through the pages comfortably to understand where they're going and what they're getting. So that's the most important thing.
Very nice. I agree. It just goes to show how much of a data junkie you are, even looking at that time spent on the page. And that's just one of many factors that you were looking at. So searchtires.com is the place to go. And in these last 2 minutes here, Tim, I know that you mentioned the charity event, but is there anything that is in store for the future that you're just really excited about as far as the future of Search Tires?
Just the growth. Our anticipated path right now is really crazy, and we're working with some companies to get more of the word out there. Some bigger companies than we've dealt with to partner with. But I mean, our growth has been phenomenal, and we'll be nationwide within 3. I mean, we're nationwide now, right? But I mean, we'll be marketing nationwide probably within 3 to 6 months, and in 6 months, with our projections all in place, and we're really good at data, we'll be the source. We'll be all the searches for tires. We believe we'll be in the 55% bracket of owning that search. So that would be really great, because instead of someone looking for a tire, which is hard, they have to really compare. You have to go to 5 different websites. It's like us. It's like the consumer, search tires, and then you get a visit. You see all their prices right there, and you can select one and go there. So we're just trying to simplify that process and make people feel better about their purchase.
Exciting, and saving the world by doing it and helping people out. And so you are on this path for world domination, and I am very excited for you and what you have in store. And as we wrap up and wind down our conversation here, Tim, does anything come to mind if I ask you about a quote, moral, or lesson? And it doesn't have to be like your favorite quote, moral, or lesson, but just anything that jumps out at you that you feel like sharing here right now today. Quote, moral, or lesson, what comes to mind?
Wow, there's a few. Some of the biggest ones from my past would be, how you do anything is how you do everything. So that's a really big one for me. And not to be not sensitive, but my operational side of me is always processes work and people fail. It's that simple. I know it's kind of harsh, but you have to really be paying attention to the data, and processes really do work if they're used properly. And we want people to not fail. We want them to be good and listen to the data. So
wonderful. Processes work and people fail, and how you do anything, it's the way that you do everything. And those are two very good pieces of advice, and it's great to just hear or experience your operational sort of mind as far as making things work smoothly, and then always refining the system and thinking better. And so the place to go right now is searchtires.com. And thank you very much, Tim, for being honest and passionate and open about what you have to do. I think that searchtires.com is going to take over the whole world, so it's time for us in podcast land to go visit that site. And even if we don't need tires right now, just go there. That way Tim can retarget you on the ads maybe, or just that way you're familiar with the site. So when that time comes, when you do need your tires or a friend needs tires or something, it's an inevitability that your car will eventually need tires. Searchtires.com is a place that you should go. So thank you very much, Tim, for telling us about it and for sharing these stories.
Thanks so much, Robert. I really appreciate it.